So you guys have just celebrated your 105-year anniversary. Is that correct?
Correct.
That's awesome. So Susan, how long have you been a part of Community Bank?
It will be 4 years in January.
4 years.
4 years. I'm a relative newbie.
Okay. And have you been president and CEO that whole time, or did you hold some other roles?
Yes. No, I was hired in as president and CEO.
Okay.
Prior to that, I worked in public accounting and I audited financial institutions.
Okay. So what drew you to Community Bank?
They were actually one of my clients. And I just, formed a relationship. And when they were talking special plan, they started talking to me. And, I've been in public accounting for 20 years. And I wanted to try industry.
Yeah. That's really cool that you had a relationship with the bank prior to joining with it.
Yeah.
So is there something specific that drew you to the industry of community banking out of the auditing side?
I had focused on that, when you first start in public accounting, like I said, I was there actually 21 years. They put you on audits in all different industries.
Mm-hmm.
And then allow you, as you get experience, to specialize. And I was always drawn to and the majority, well, all of our banks, we did have 2 credit unions, were community banks located within West Virginia and the surrounding states. So, just 20 years of working with community banks, working with, all aspects, external audit, internal audit, doing differing engagements. And, even as an auditor, going in and out of the banks, you still get to see what an impact community banks make on the community. I got to witness, their involvement in the community, all the things that community banks across the state did to, bend over backwards to help their customers and help the communities in which they were in.
Yeah, I've definitely found that to be true working on the correspondent side with some of these banks as well. Some of the things that these banks do for their communities is just incredible. And you don't see that with other types of institutions, I think.
No.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about your bank's customer base and kind of the surrounding community of Parkersburg. Are you guys near?
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, are you guys near like the Huntington area? Do I have that right?
We are north of Huntington by about 2 hours, but we're along the Ohio River, same as Huntington. So we're just 2 hours up the river. We are, what would you call it, the more northern side of the Ohio Valley, where the eastern side of West Virginia, or western side of West Virginia, along the Ohio River. We service mostly Wood County in West Virginia and Washington County, Ohio, which includes Marietta, Belfry, surrounding areas. Parkersburg is the biggest city in Wood County. And of course, we have business in all neighboring counties, but the majority of our business is in Wood County, West Virginia, and Washington County, Ohio. If you would look at this area, historically the biggest employers have been the chemical industry. We have, DuPont and Chemours and others that I can't remember the other one's name. Crayson would be in Belfry. I guess just Max dab in the middle of the Palmer Alliance. Yeah. And then our other major employer in this area is Bureau of Fiscal Services, which is a federal governmental agency, and they employ about 3,000 people.
Okay, yeah.
It's the Bureau of Public Debt.
Yeah, I'm somewhat familiar with that area. I'm from northeastern Kentucky originally, so I'm familiar with that kind of tri-state area there. Yeah, so that being said, and just being familiar with that area, I can see how important an institution like a community bank would be for, its growth and its thriving in the small business community. So
we started out as a savings and loan, is that correct? And then we switched to a banking charter. Do you remember what year that was? It's been a while. I have to look back. I have to look back to get specific. But as a community bank, we're unlike some other community banks, wherein most of our activity is still in consumer-based lending. We still generate in-house and keep all of our 1 to 4 family mortgages. We do commercial lending, but by far we're more of a consumer lending institution.
yeah, that's pretty rare for a community bank now, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It is, and we do realize that that we do need to grow our commercial portfolio, and we have been doing that. But if you looked at the mix, if you pulled our call report, you would see that we're primarily consumer based.
Yeah. So is that kind of an intentional focus, or does that just kind of come from the needs of the community around you?
To be honest, I think that's how we started, and that's how we stayed. And I would say we stayed that way due to the needs. We're located in Parkersburg, which is, the headquarters of, well, it used to be, now they're in D.C., but the headquarters of United Bank. We also have several other big banks in our market, Truist, Huntington, West Banco. They play a big role, and they're more commercial based. Mm-hmm. So that there is a need. The community likes to know that they can come here for their mortgage, and that their mortgage is going to stay here, and it's not going to be sold. We're one of the few lenders in the area that does construction loans, housing construction loans. We're one of the few, and by few I mean probably less than 2 or 3 in the area, that will still do bridge loans on housing. We're one of the few, actually, that will give you a 30-year fixed loan on your mortgage, without selling it. So we feel a need for those more traditional banking products. And again, like for construction and bridge, we do a lot of that because there's hardly any banks in town that are willing to do those types of loans.
Yeah, it's wonderful your community has that option from you guys. So I know that you have only been there for about 4 years, but what do you know about, and you touched on this a bit about how you guys started as a savings and loan, but tell me a little bit about what you know about the history of Community Bank. 105 years, that'd be 1917, is that right?
Right. And that's why I wanted Mary Ann to join. She had to do a lot of history and fact finding when we did our 100th anniversary. So you probably still have now. And I should have gone back and refreshed my memory. But yeah, we started primarily, we made loans for small appliances, that type of thing when we started in 1917. So we were very much a blue collar bank, I guess you could say. And just over the years, we've just evolved, as far as just taking on different types of loans. But I would say largely, our focus then was consumer and to meet the needs of our community, and we just continued to do that throughout the years. We're in the same location as, so we have four locations. Our main location is in downtown Parkersburg, and we're actually now 3 buildings combined into one, but one of those 3 buildings was the original location we formed in 1917.
Wow.
And since that time, we've opened up 3 branch locations within Parkersburg, Indiana.
Wow, that's really cool. You guys have stayed in the same building. Not a lot of institutions or not a lot of businesses, period, can say that their building is original and has been there that long.
Yeah, it doesn't look, it's kind of cobbled together. It doesn't, you'd think 1917, look older, a lot of maybe some of the same. Be fairly contemporary looking on the outside. Yeah.
Yeah. That's really interesting, though. So what do
We
you...
actually had a repairman in yesterday, and that's one of the things with having an old building and then having 3 buildings, put together to make one building. Speaking of the poor old repairman, he was in yesterday trying to fix an exhaust vent. But it was a wild goose chase. They were trying to figure out which panel related to which exhaust vent, because we've got where they were 3 buildings.
Mm-hmm.
We've got different electrical panels kind of everywhere, and our building's a bit of a hodgepodge mystery.
It's just character, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just gives it character. So you've touched a little bit on this and some things that make community bank unique from other community banks as well as some of the larger banks around you. But, surviving 105 years is, quite a feat for a community bank or any business, really. If you think about it, that's what, 2 pandemics, the Great Depression, a Great Recession, all happened in that time. So what do you think has helped community bank survive all of that time and have that staying power?
I think it's cliche to say, and a lot of banks will say it, but it's just the customer service, and it is staying attuned to what our customers want, and trying to fill those needs, those gaps where they are. And, there is still a lot to be said about being able to call the bank and getting the, questions answered locally. When you call, you can get things addressed right then and there by someone who is in the same town as you. If you need to come in, it can be addressed by a person sitting across the table from you. And it's that sort of thing. We have a credit card portfolio, and I will tell you, we have an individual, her name is Donna, that takes care of the credit cards. And just that type of thing, all of our customers know, if I need a hold on my card, I'm going to what I suspect is a fraudulent transaction. I'm going to call Donna. It's being able, if I need to increase my credit limit, I'm just going to call Donna. And I hate to, just use Donna as an example, but I think that's a good example of, if I have an issue, this is the person that I'm going to call. I know their name, and I recognize their voice. I think we've been blessed to have people, employees here, who they just genuinely care, and they live in the communities where we're located. So they care about the people in the community, they care about the community, and they want all of that to improve. So we've been blessed to have dedicated people over the years.
Yeah, it's amazing what a difference. I'm sorry, go ahead.
We didn't say anything.
Oh, I thought I heard you start to say something. Yeah, it's amazing what a difference that customer service makes, and just that personal touch of that person living in your community, and knowing the names of your customers, and they know their names, and that's just amazing. So it sounds like you've been able to retain a kind of dedicated core customer service staff, which not a lot of institutions can say right now.
We have long tenured individuals. Now, unfortunately, some of those individuals are coming or have come of the age of retiring, but this institution historically has been, you come to work here, you retire from here. And I think that speaks a lot too, is having that consistent customer service. The people that believe in our mission so much that they want to stay and retire from here.
Yeah, that's amazing, and it's so rare, especially now. So, do you think that there's some secret or some reason for that? Something that you guys have been able to do differently to, retain your staff for so long, when so many businesses and so many banks have such high turnover, especially now post-pandemic?
It's the family atmosphere, would you say? Very accurate. And I think that everyone is just welcoming in the family atmosphere. I just had a conversation with our director of human resources, who's retiring in January, and we hired her replacement. She started yesterday. They're going to work side by side and train. And she just caught me coming out of a meeting, and she said, I know this is only my second day. She said, but everyone has been so welcoming and so kind, and this is such a great atmosphere. She said, I feel like I've been here months instead of 12 hours.
Wow. I think that speaks volumes. It's so great that you've been able to, that retention not only makes a difference for, your organization, your bottom line, but for your customers as well, as they get to know and build trust with your staff. That's just amazing. So I couldn't help but notice, kind of, browsing your website and learning a little bit about you guys, that you seem to have a lot of, digital banking offerings, and you seem pretty up to date with the, financial technology side of it. And I've kind of noticed that to be a challenge for a lot of community banks, trying to kind of keep up to date with those things on some more limited resources. So how have you been able to kind of, keep up with that rapidly changing technology without losing that kind of personal touch of being a community bank and having the in-branch experience where people come in and your staff knows their name? Or do you think those things are necessarily mutually exclusive?
The digital items, those really have come into probably more relevance in the last, 3 or 4 years.
Right.
We have put a lot of focus, and will continue to put a lot of focus on getting those sorts of things up and running. But what our mindset is that we want to be able to serve the customer how they want to be served.
Mm.
We do realize we've got an aging population. A lot of our customers are aging. We want, if they want to come in the bank, we will gladly serve them that way. And we'll continue to serve that way. But we also know that we have customers that are millennial and younger that may want to be served a different way. A lot of people in those age groups have never stepped foot in the bank. So it's trying to weigh the balance of serving customers how they want to be served, whether it be digitally or in person or a mixture of both. And then, we again, with that aging population, we have people moving away. And, we often heard, I've been a loyal customer for 30 years. I still want you to be my bank, but I'm moving to South Carolina or Florida. So sorry, we're going to have to break up.
Mm.
And, and we were like, no, we don't want to lose you. You've been a wonderful customer for 30 years. So it's implementing the technology that, even for those customers, that they can still bank with us if they're 500 miles away. So it's just trying to balance all of those things and still give people options on how they want to bank.
I like that. I like that the focus on options. And it sounds like you guys are doing a great job of that. I think I'm talking to, some other bankers. It seems like there's a little bit of fear that with all of the digitization, you lose a relational aspect of banking, but that doesn't seem to be the case for you guys.
Well, even with our digital products, such as our mobile banking, there's chat features in there where they know I'm chatting with someone. So they may not be coming in here. They might want to ask their questions via chat, but they know that they're chatting with someone in Parkersburg. Not, a robo chat, based out of India or, somewhere abroad.
Right, yeah. And I
so
can only...
Still, it's digital products still with a hometown feel.
Yeah. And that's really wonderful. I love how, you guys have mastered that, it seems like. So do you have for, the bank that's maybe trying to implement some digitization and, serve their younger customers who desire that, but don't want to lose the hometown feel and the relational aspect? Do you have any, advice for that banker on how to go about implementing some of these things in their community bank?
I think it just boils down to listen to your customers and know your customers and know their demographics. We realized that a good majority of our customers are over the age of 55. We realized that if we also, so they like more of that personal touch in person. But we also know, and again, it's looking at the viability as a bank in the future. We also know that if we want younger customers to replace those aging customers as they pass away or move along, we have to have features that are attractive to them as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's respecting what you have while trying to be innovative for those that are either open to change or those that expect community banks to have the same type of features as a Chase or as a Bank of America. We realize that we can't give them all the features, money and technology.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a barrier, but, to at least give them the important features.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. For sure. And I think that that attitude will serve you guys well. So now you guys are a customer of ours, right? A customer of ICBB?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, and you work with Dave Fletcher.
Yes.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
A wonderful man.
He really is. So how long have you guys been our customer, or does that predate your time at Community Bank, Susan?
That predates my time, and I've been here almost 10 years, and it predates my time. So.
Okay. Yeah, almost.
Well, we'll have to ask that question. I'm not sure. But even for as long as I audited for customer of Bankers Bank.
Oh, wow.
Sorry, I'm CB now.
Right. Yeah, it's amazing. It seems like every banker I talk to, every, bank president and CEO, I ask that question and they're like, oh, it predates me. It's, longer than I've been here. Yeah. So would you recommend partnering with ICB to other community banks? And if so, why?
I would definitely recommend, and I think to a degree, well, I mean, not to a degree, but I think that ICBB has some of the same values that we do with community service and with developing relationships with the customer. I know that if we have issues on a wire or we have issues on or any kind of anything, that we're able to call down. We know the person that we need to talk to. So, we formed those relationships, past point of contact, and ICBB works hand in hand with us. So, I think it's just a great partnership.
Yeah, absolutely.
And again, I just think even though ICBB is a correspondent bank, they're a community correspondent bank. So they have the same ideals that we do.
Absolutely. I think you put that really well. So I think that's our goal, is to be for our customer banks like you guys, what you are to your customers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I've gotten through everything that I wanted to ask you guys, but before I let you get on with their day, is there anything that you'd like to add that maybe I haven't touched on, just something you think that people should know?
I don't have anything, Mary Ann, to you. No. I think that was a very good set of questions.
Oh, well, thank you. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for just taking the time to talk to me and for everything you do for your community as well, and being a great customer. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day and a lot more years of service.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you. You too.
Bye.
Bye.